It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine. Indeed, you're back once again with your weekly recap of all the Star Wars news. I'm your host, Brian Cameron, and then with me, as always, is my co-host in crime, Mr. Paul Naylor.
And just about always with you.
Yeah.
Bit of drama at home, folks. The laptop's died, so Bright, you'll have to read out the list of topics today because I will. This is like a
No
mini eye
chance of
chart.
seeing it. Mr. Newball saying, "Here we go," and I just went to respond, "Here we go." But as you say, let's kick on. Let's pull up the show rundown, and we'll talk about what's coming up on tonight's show. Paul, I'll tell you all about it.
Tell me all about it, Bright.
So on tonight's show, we're going to be checking out the Celebration exclusive of The Mandalorian from Medicon. We'll be checking out Andor Season 2's second trailer. Indiana Jones has a release date for the PlayStation 5 and had a weird kind of video to launch that, so we'll be looking at that as well. The Acolyte is seeing 20 times the average demand on Disney Plus, according to certain people. I will prove them. Why? That's not something to be proud of. So bear with us for that. And sad news as well. Something that our own Mr. Newbold heard a couple of weeks ago, but it never officially was announced until this week, was the sad passing of Mr. Clive Revel, who was the original Emperor, for those of you who saw The Empire Strikes Back in cinema. So very sad news, officially confirmed this week. So we'll be talking about him. And we'll also have Jabba's Court back this week, where we'll be asking the question whether you want a 3-camera Star Wars sitcom, after Tony Gilroy suggested that that may be something that could happen after what they've achieved with Andor. They're doing something entirely different in the Star Wars realm. We'll also be checking out Beyond Victory, the new mixed reality playset coming from ILM, and kind of virtual reality kind of thing for the Meta Quest 3. And last but not least, I think on the news front, we've got Star Wars The Mandalorian Grogu life-size collectible figure from Hot Toys. It was not the last news, in fact, because Nick Frost is going to be playing Hagrid in the Harry Potter series. And of course, we'll be doing a big review and recap of Andor Season 1, Episode 11. And we're not alone tonight, Paul, because we have a special guest. So let's introduce him now. From Explore the Force, Jack Copestake. How are you, Jack?
I'm very well, thank you, guys. How you both doing?
Yeah.
Really good, really good. Excited for Star Wars Celebration coming up. And also for Andor Season 2 on the horizon as well. Were you a big fan of Andor?
Yes, absolutely huge fan. Rogue One, especially leading up to me really getting back into Star Wars. We had that bit of a quiet period, and then obviously Andor dropping even more so. Cannot wait for more Andor.
Paul, you're not joining us at Star Wars Celebration this year, but you'll be watching from the comfort of your home.
I will be. I'm hoping they stream absolutely everything. But
you'll probably end up seeing more than we do.
That's the irony of it all, isn't it? I'll sit here with some sort of I don't know. I'll have a bit of sushi or something just to sort of make it authentic. But I'll
head down to Morrison's sushi counter.
That's it. I'll get the meal deal. I'm a massive fan of Andor and Rogue One. So can't wait to see what comes from that. And if the screen does go blank, it'll be like my laptop. But if the screen does go blank when they're streaming it to us, I'll be texting you, Bright, to find out what sort of content we've got.
The last Star Wars Celebration I didn't make it to, which I think would have been Anaheim. I think it was.
The last one was London, wasn't it?
But, the one before that, then we don't count London. London's just a local show.
Well, the one before that was Anaheim. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I wasn't able to make that one. So the first one I've missed since the first Florida one, and I watched it from home, and I would message the sort of team chat, and oh, did you see such and such? And they're like, nope, didn't see that. So I was like, you often do see things at home that you don't see otherwise. And I've spoken about before. They were live streaming a fantastic ILM panel, and they interrupted it to go to Ewan McGregor on the live stage, who just announced that come and get my autograph at the autograph booth before I go home. And I'm like, how could you do that to the people at home? It's like none of us. It's literally all he said, and it was like, you just interrupted one of the best panels. I was really enjoying it. Doug
exactly.
Chan,
Yeah.
and
For an advert.
for an advert to get an autograph that I can't even do.
Brilliant.
And it's just like,
Dear.
shame on them
What
all.
about you, Jack? Have you been to any of the foreign celebrations before, Jack, over in America?
I haven't. No. Obviously, with the work, being in the army, and that I'm constantly busy. I was fortunate enough to go to Celebration London at the same time as well. My son was off, so straight away I grabbed in and like, we're going. We've got no choice. So I went down to London, obviously, and then on the final day we heard the rumours about Japan. Unfortunately, he's starting his GCSEs this year, so there's no way I could get him out to Japan. I wasn't going. Told the wife, definitely not going. And then as the time sort of crept up and other things started to happen, it turned out I ended up buying tickets for Celebration Japan, followed by flights and hotels. So
I suppose it's now a bit of a mini celebration for you as well, in as much as you recently got a nice promotion, sir. Well done on that.
Yes, extra cash for more Star Wars goodness. So wins all round.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget to bring me something nice back.
100%. I'll bring you something.
Cheers, mate.
Rob's mentioning in the chat there that he didn't get into the main room or streaming for Andor. Major problem for, I think, a lot of people. I was very lucky. I got through and managed to get I got, I think, Galaxy stage, I think, for Mando, and Celebration stage for Andor. And I also got the Visions panel because I love my animation. And, but yeah, people, on our team didn't get anything at all. We're in the queue for more than an hour before it started, and didn't get anything. The system's broken in my eyes. I preferred the kind of lottery system that they had at London. It wasn't ideal, but at least everybody got. It felt like a fair crack in the whip. This random access, and didn't seem to work at all.
No,
they've never got it right, have they? Ever since they ditched the old-fashioned way of queuing up overnight, they just never have got it quite right.
I don't think you should get a second panel until everybody has a first panel.
Yeah.
Open it up for a week. Give everybody preferences 1 to 3. Fill out as many preference ones as possible, and at least everybody gets something before you start allocating the rest. I think would be the best idea. Rob did get Twin Sons for Ahsoka. I won't be going to the Ahsoka one, sadly, so I'll miss that one. So that was the hard choice, I think, was picking between Andor and Ahsoka.
Well, you can sell that one for $200 if you can't make it, so it's all good.
I can't believe that.
That was the infuriating thing.
That.
That was the infuriating thing for me, was people selling them as soon as they'd got them.
Unreal.
I kind of get the idea of when people are selling their actual ticket to Celebration. Okay, so I'm going to bundle it up with panels. I've got panels for people, blah, 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 whatever. But if you've just gone out to get panels to sell panels, you're just removing it from someone's opportunity to get, just to make money for yourself. I don't like that. Mark agrees with my idea. At least everyone should get a panel. See, sometimes I say nice things. And Mark, he got Galaxy for Mando and Celebration for Andor. Nice. And Rob is taking PayPal or credit card.
Rob is going, isn't he?
Yes, 100%.
If Rob bumps into me, he can take my Andor panel. Not a drama. I've got twin sons at Andor. It's really doesn't bother me at all about the panels. I mean, there's so much controversy over. And I said it as well on that other page about like you know, people complaining they paid a lot of money for flights, for hotels. Like, I get that, but surely, like, you've got to have some not experience. I don't know what it is I'm looking for here, but like, bit of hindsight, I guess, or foresight is, you know, these things are going to happen, will going to happen. Like I said to Brian, I know somebody that's only got 1 day ticket on the Saturday, and they ended up getting 3 stages on the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. So, like Brian said, the system's totally broken, and I feel for these people as well, going with their friends and their families that, you know, they can't even get seats together. Now, if I was taking my son to Japan and I got a panel and he didn't, I can't exactly just leave him outside.
No.
So
I think it's a complicated fact as well that the majority of the attendees coming in from abroad aren't going to be Japanese speakers. I think it's safe to say. So even at 16-year-old, you wouldn't want to leave your child to go into a panel themselves, because it's just foreign environment where communication's tougher than it back at home. You know, that's the one element. I think, one, everybody should at least get one panel, I feel, and two, something needs to be sorted to deal with the family situation. I'm not so worried about the friends one. I think it sucks that you can't go and experience it with friends, because I think, you know, one of my fondest memories of Celebration was the trailer for The Force Awakens and Han coming on and saying, "Chewie, we're home." And I was sat with Martin Keeler and Paul McHugh, and I remember the three of us reactions more than I remember the trailer, if that makes sense. Because it was just that special kind of moment, and it was awesome to be with friends when that happened, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I had other friends that were in other parts of the room, because I think in that case, I think you were all given like a section that you were admitted into. So you were down on the floor, or you were up in the balcony, or wherever it was. So we had people across the room, and you were kind of waving to each other before the panel started, and it was fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of been sucked away a little bit. Like, if they have a moment like that, they play a Mando and Grogu trailer and something comes on the screen, I'm not going to hug the person next to me, because I'll probably get thrown out the venue, you know? That's the element that feels is lost a little bit. But I don't know how you fix that. I think it becomes families you can kind of fix, because presumably they've bought the tickets together. Friends, a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
So
unless they did it like a football stadium sort of thing, where you paid for the tickets for the panels, maybe, or even if they raised the prices slightly on the Celebration tickets and they guaranteed you a panel or a seat to an extent, and the tickets were like randomized, and then for the Celebration stage, obviously that's the big one that everyone wants to get to. Obviously, you've got the VIP straight away that pay hundreds more than anybody else.
Yeah.
They're guaranteed their seats, or even just go back to the queuing system.
Yeah. Rob said he remembers
if
being sat next to Richard Mitchell on the Rogue One panel, queued up overnight for that. I remember queuing up overnight in Florida, having paid probably £300 per night for the hotel room to sleep in the street like a hobo. Mr. Newbold, he was with James Burns. Sadly, some people have bad experiences at Celebration.
Brian.
Just a low blow. Love James. And they ended up on the My Saga documentary, which is an awesome documentary as well. Two grown men crying with happiness. But yeah, it's changed. I think we've gotten old as well. An element of it. We don't have necessarily the tolerance of the younger generation to certain things. But there has to be a better way than it is at the moment, I think, because the last thing you want is people unhappy, I think, because it's supposed to be Star Wars Celebration. And I think if you knew you were going to get one panel guaranteed, you might not get the panel you want, but at least you feel like it's been fair. I think when people have 3 in a Celebration stage and other people have none, that doesn't feel fair.
Yeah. But surely if they've got the technology to beam it all around the world while it's being shown on a stage, surely it could be shown, beamed onto a giant screen in the actual show hall itself.
Yeah.
So, it just seems crazy not to at least offer people something.
Yeah. I did feel sorry for James Merck, just to confirm. That's what I meant. Should we crack on with the news, because we've got loads to cover, and Celebration is once again amongst it. And it's the first story of the week. Medicon have announced their Star Wars Celebration Japan exclusive, which is Chrome Mandalorian. And it's not too bad because it's round about this. I've worked out 14,000 yen is roughly 72, 73 pounds. And it's going to be a Celebration exclusive. And it's nice. It's really nice. And something I'm quite tempted to get, I think. Paul, you're a action figure aficionado. Your take, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, nice and shiny. And it seems quite a nice price point for that, considering, like you say, if it's about £70, well, then that's quite a shrewd investment, I would suggest. But yeah, nice to see him there with the old Beskar spear as well. So that's cool. And is it? You'll have to forgive me. I can't really read all this text today because of the size of my screen. But is it a limited run?
It doesn't say it's a limited run, although it says it's
just an exclusive
for the show. So I presume it won't be available post-show, but you know.
Yeah. Or if it is, it'll be different packaging or whatever to distinguish it from the show version. Yeah, but no, it's a lovely addition to any collection. Yeah.
Yep. I see a nice collection behind you there, Jack. Is there something that you might be tempted to add to the shelf?
The thing is with all the stuff at Japan, right, is getting it back home and getting it back home safely and all that good stuff. I say I'm not a massive collector. Obviously, I've got some stuff behind me. I've got a little bit more stuff at home. So it all depends on the packaging and stuff like that. Like that sort of thing. Like my Vader behind me as well. I'll probably take it out. And yeah, at the minute, I've got a rucksack and just a normal 25 kilo luggage allowance. So unless I'm sacrificing some clothes, which could happen, we'll have to wait and see.
I did buy it in Florida. In Florida, I did end up buying a second suitcase to go home with.
Nice. Yeah, but you smuggled yourself back in that.
Yeah.
So, if you sat on a plane next to a naked mate, it could be Jack. All right, so just be careful, folks.
The Explore the Force suggestion, can you keep Jack? We'll take Paul. Controversial.
It's so funny what we were on about before. That's what we were on about before the transfer window's open.
Transfer window is open. Talking Celebration, and just after Celebration, Andor Season 2 will be launching in this week. We got the second trailer, so I can run that just now so we can all have a quick check on it.
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win. It's a different kind of mission. If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly.
But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win. We have to. We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
It's a weapon. They're building a weapon. The monster will come for us all.
Revolution is not for the saying. You're right here, and you're ready to fight.
There's a future here for those who dare.
Welcome to the rebellion.
The more I see it, the more I'm convinced that everyone's going to be shocked that the Gorman Massacre was a rebel-created event.
100%. 100%.
Has to be at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's all a proxy war sort of thing, isn't it? You know, I think that's the spark that's going to ignite the flame. If I'm honest,
I actually watched Rogue One last night, and it is amazing how many times between Andor and Rogue One that Cassian Andor says everything I did for the rebellion, and it's just like you've done a lot of nasty stuff,
Yeah.
And I just think that you may come out at Andor season 2 thinking, is it the Empire that's so bad?
Yeah. 100% agree with you, Brian.
You always think that, Bri. You're
I
such a
do.
fan
I
of the
always think
Empire.
that. I'm just a big
I
fan of
think you're
democracy,
right.
Paul.
Yeah.
I do love the new poster as well.
Yeah.
Cyril's there in his tie, which I love. I need to get a tie like Cyril. If someone's selling that Celebration, I'm buying. But it's a really nice trailer.
Yeah.
The way that Andor builds a storyline is so nice. And I've been watching a lot of it recently, obviously for the recaps here. Like I watched Rogue One last night, purely because I was reading an article with by Tony Gilroy when he talked about how it would appear different once you've watched it. And so I thought I should maybe make myself familiar with it again. And even Rogue One is not so clean on the lines between Rebellion and Empire. Paul, what's your take on Andor? Should we expect some difficult to accept behaviors?
I think you're both right. I think it's going to sort of flip what has always been the goodies and the baddies notion, if you like, from when we were kids. I think the lead up into Rogue One that we'll see in the final few episodes will be particularly jarring for some people. I think we're going to see some things that are going on that we don't that we go, oh please, that can't be right. But on the whole, it's going to be season 1 for me was some of the best Star Wars that we've had ever. I love Rogue One, but Andor season 1 was great because it played out like a novel. It was so detailed, and I'm guessing that's going to be the same with season 2. And the fact that it leads into what is probably my favorite film. I'm intrigued to see how close they come to the beginning of Rogue One.
Yeah. Mark's mentioned that obviously General Draven sent out Cassian with expected orders to eliminate people, including Galen Erso. And when you watch Rogue One, it makes it all the more possible that Cassian met Galen previously, or certainly he could make it work within the storyline. And that's maybe the one and only big cameo I want to see. As much as I would love to see the Emperor come out and do a little speech for the Senate, I don't think that's going to happen. But would you like to see a cameo somewhere, a big cameo that's not been revealed yet in Andor, Jack?
Yes, I'm totally with you. The Emperor and on the Senate piece there has to be the one for me. I think they're very clever in the trailer with some of the things that they're showing us, especially with Daedra like holding a collar. A lot of people are instantly saying, "Oh, she's getting force choked by Vader, etc." I don't think that's the case at all. I just think she's having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Answer to your question is, for me, it's got to be the Emperor.
Jimmy as well asking, how do you guys feel about the release schedule? I'll start with you, Paul, on that one.
Yeah, but just before I go on to that, I'd like to see Enfys Nest in there. I'd like to see that beginning development of the association with the rebellion. I think the actual release schedule, I've got no problem with that, because I think sometimes with a 12 episode season, you will get the odd episode that's a bit slow. So by releasing it the way they are, you've got the beginning, middle, and end 4 times across the season. So we've effectively got 4 decent length movies coming out. So for me, I don't mind the release schedule. The only people that will struggle with it are those that have got to review it. Now, luckily, Brian, the day of the week it comes out, by the time it comes round to Sunday, we'll have had a good chance to have a look. So I don't feel too sorry for us, but other people that review it, maybe more so.
The only downside for me is I think the week it comes out, I arrive back in the UK very late on Saturday and have to prep the show for the Sunday and cover 3 episodes. I don't think there'll be much news to discuss that week, Paul. I think we might be focused on the episodes.
Yeah, I'll take the lead on that one.
I get it from a story point of view, but Yeah, I kind of agree with the notion 10 weeks at Andor is better than 4. Let us watch it week by week and then go back and consume it as mini movies would have been my preference. But, Rob's saying he's got a poster tube at the ready. If we get that poster after the show, that reminds me I need to have a poster tube in my luggage.
Write it down.
Mr. Newbold making a comment, in a galaxy where people wear helmets rather than hats, they could easily have met. Cyril always wears a hat, never a helmet. Just Kevin pointing out that Hot Toys is doing a Galen Erso figure. It's a Celebration exclusive. No doubt the season will premiere at the convention. There's no way he's not in the show.
I wouldn't bet on a screening at the show.
It depends. They did the red carpet event. Was it in Anaheim the last time?
Yeah.
I can see them doing something like that. But would they show 3 episodes? I don't think so. I think they might show 1 episode, just to have like a media circus on the Saturday evening.
I don't think there's going to be. Well, I don't know for 100%. But what I've heard, there's not to be any screenings.
That would be sad because I enjoyed watching The Mandalorian, which was a cracking episode. They showed at Celebration. Only to be met with a crushing final episode that was just garbage. But yeah, it was fun. It's fun watching Star Wars in a big enthusiastic crowd.
There's a lot of screenings already, isn't there, at Celebration? I know we're going off topic a little bit there, but they're screening all the Clone Wars stuff. On some of the days anyway. And like I said, what I've heard and read, I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's a screening of Andor.
We'll wait and see. I
fingers crossed.
It would make sense if they did. But, Rob's saying he's betting Cassian meeting Jin. I'm not so sure about that, or whether that kind of works. Having watched Rogue One again, you can make it kind of work because she uses various aliases and so on.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily essential. Yeah, Mark's kind of thinking what I'm thinking. If anything, they'll show 1 episode. Jimmy's pointing out, it's the end of the Clone Wars and Rebels that they're showing. I don't know. They've always done something in an evening, a celebration. The first London, from memory, I'm sure. They did a screening outside of the Excel. On the big screen out there. The lack of anything happening officially in an evening makes me think they might do something, but it may just be those people that make it into the celebration hall. You're going to get a pass on your wrist, come back in the evening, and there'll be popcorn. I can see them doing it for the photo opportunity and the media opportunity, but don't know. It's a tricky one.
Do you think the fact that they're showing the end of the Clone Wars is probably going to tie in with some form of an announcement relating to that?
Say that again, Paul.
The fact that they're showing the last episode of Clone Wars, do you think that's going to tie in with some other release that they've got coming up?
Everyone's kind of expecting the sequel series to be announced for Bad Batch, Rebels, Clone Wars. So I don't know if it's just as part of that that they're doing that.
I think they're just pushing the animation stuff because it's Japan.
Yeah. Well, I had considered that as well. Yeah.
Mark fact checking me. Yeah, they screened A New Hope in London, and a jumbo flew over the screen as the Star Destroyer arrived. In Germany, they did something in the park as well. I can't remember. All I remember was that they had to walk past a giant wall covered in moss that people were smelling. I don't know. Some kind of cultural thing going on there. I didn't understand.
Okay.
Yeah. People of Essen can confirm there was a wall of moss that people treated weirdly. Jimmy's asking, do we think Jin shows up? I don't think Jin shows up. But
No.
Unless maybe...
No, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I don't know how you make it work. It would be cool if Bodhi or someone just working his day job on the shuttles and
Yeah,
Jeddah.
that's a great
I would
shout.
like to see Jeddah in it, especially in Rogue One. Casting gives the impression that he knows a lot about Jeddah. So a cameo like that, I would, and it would be great for Japan to announce it. But if you had Chirrut in it, perhaps if you do venture to Jeddah, that would be nice. Again, fact checking here there from the VAR. Germany was Return of the Jedi. That's very true. It was. See, there we go. It's handy to have there in the chat just to correct us.
Moderator.
Rob's as well putting out the screen Return of the Jedi as a D23 event in London last celebration. Mr. Newball's confident we'll see Jeddah.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah.
I think it's not impossible that we won't see Jyn, depending on like the timeline stuff, even if she's a young girl next to Saw, because obviously Saw in season 2 is in a lot better shape in season 2 Andor than he was we saw in Rogue One.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the element that you can catch out if they do flashbacks, and then it would make sense to have her in there somewhere. Yeah, that would be interesting. Next on the news cycle, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PS5, and I'm going to play the really weird video and see if anyone can explain it to me that they released to promote this.
Nolan, buddy, I got your super urgent text.
Troy, please, have a seat.
New room?
Yes. I broke in about an hour ago. We don't have much time. Since taking on the role of Indiana Jones, you're now on the cusp of being brought into a very exclusive club.
You said cusp.
We have a few questions, of course.
Sure.
What makes a great adventure?
It's about being prepared. Like, you'd be surprised at how often a whip comes in handy.
I doubt that. How are you going to deal with private military forces with just a whip?
Use the old
headbutt. I like it. Aggressive. See, I'm more of a sidearms kind of guy.
You would be.
Jeans. Henley.
Somehow always half-tucked.
Of course.
Of course. What about finding ancient artifacts?
Yes. Sold to the highest bidder.
Donated to museums.
Sold to that museum.
Going somewhere unexpected.
What is an adventure without going somewhere new? Trey?
Troy?
Troy? Welcome to the club. Done this before?
Yeah. How many fingers did you have before?
Weird. It's the only way I can describe it. I can't understand a trailer for a game and you don't show any of the game in it.
Yeah.
Is it just me, Paul? Am I missing the point here?
No, that was quite bizarre. And is that guy involved as the new Indiana Jones in any way, shape, or form? Or
yeah, I think he's basically the mocap kind of guy for the Great Circle and does the voice.
Okay. Okay. It was a bit of an odd advert. Yeah. It could have done with a little bit more indie, shall we say?
Jonathan pointing out both great voice actors. Very true. Jack, have you played the game?
I haven't. I've only got a PlayStation 5, obviously my PC as well. And I was waiting for this. So I'm definitely going to be getting this. However, I'm definitely not going to be doing the thing that you did because I want mine straight away.
Well, after all the complaining I did about it, I took it out the box, got the download code because they give you the game box with no disc inside it when you buy the premium edition, and you just get a code. So I got the code and I keyed it in and I downloaded it and I haven't played it yet. So for all the complaining,
that is brilliant.
Hadn't played it. Kevin's
this is why I tune in every Sunday.
Yeah. Mr. Newball pointed out, after Harrison spoke so highly of them, they've tried to parlay into that by making them stars and riffing on that. I think, yeah, it's probably right, I think. Rob has played it on Xbox. It's a great game.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
I will play it post-celebration.
And then will you review it, Brian? Will you finally review it?
I will finally review it. Yeah, I am a big Indiana Jones fan. Probably a bigger Indiana Jones fan than I am a Star Wars fan, to be fair.
What?
I know. There's no droids in Indiana Jones.
That's true. That is true.
There we go. Mr. Newball's asking a controversial question here, but we're just going to ignore it. There, just pretend that hasn't been asked. I'm going to come on to Mr. Newbold next. I'm going to pick on a Mr. Newbold article next.
Let's get him. Let's get him.
So the Acolyte is seeing 20 times the average demand on Disney Plus. So this is based on Parrot Analytics report into the show, as reported by Collider, and Mr. Newbold has shared that on Fanta Tracks. And I'll start by asking you both what your thoughts were when you've read this. I'll start with you, Paul.
Well, I'm surprised if it is the case. It wasn't a series that I particularly enjoyed, and I've got no aspiration to go back and watch again. So I would be very surprised if it is now gaining traction.
And I'll ask Jack the same question before I rip that apart.
Great question. So again, I'm not just saying it because I'm on the show. I'm always on fanfortracks.com all the time for the news, all the time looking at this. And when I read this made sense of a lot of stuff that I was seeing online. I know there's groups out there trying to bring back a season 2. I enjoyed The Acolyte. There were bits and bobs in it. I thought, not great. But when I saw this, I genuinely thought there's hope at the end of the tunnel for a season 2, which I'd totally be down for. If I was looking at the Head of the Future or whatever, I don't think it'd be called The Acolyte. I think they might just go with a new name. So again, all these theories going in my head, Star Wars theories fans all going crazy in my head. But yeah, for me, it looked like it was a good piece of news, and I was all up for it.
Yeah. So obviously, it's Collider's report based on Parrot Analytics analysis, and they reported it as being a rare statistic obtained only by shows that are become very popular with audiences after release, meaning that viewers can't get enough of The Acolyte, and this could mean it could get renewed for a second season. I'm going to show you some analytics next from Parrot Analytics, which will show what this 20 times the average demand means, because it's not meaning it's getting 20 times the average viewers compared to another show on Disney Plus. It means it's getting 20 times the average demand of TV shows in general. So it's comparing it to a repeat of Blackadder on Dave, for example, because you're taking in all the TV shows, and you can imagine the number of channels, how small the audiences are for some shows. So the only way to fairly compare The Acolyte's 20 times the average demand is to look at what did other shows that are successful get. So using Parrot Analytics' own statistics, look at The Mandalorian. So season 1 of The Mandalorian was getting 145 times average demand. Season 2 was anywhere between 80 to 90 average demand. And season 3, which was largely derided, was still anywhere between 40 and 80 average demand. Then if you look at season premieres for all the Star Wars shows, the Bad Batch was getting 20 times average demand. The Book of Boba Fett was getting anywhere between 30 to 40 average demand. Andor season 1, which was a critical success but not necessarily found an audience until much later, was getting an average of 40 times demand. Ahsoka season 1, which a lot of people were deriding, actually got one of the highest ever demands after it was out, because it peaked at 83 times average demand, And The Mandalorian Season 3, which again was derided, its premiere went anywhere between 50 to 75 times demand. And that's on the range between the start of it and 52 days after. So, having looked at that, 20 times demand is not good.
No.
So, whilst Collider have taken that statistic and whipped it into an article to suggest that the Acolyte Season 2 could be on the horizon because of this statistic, it's just completely wrong to suggest that. And the biggest problem the Acolyte has got is its cost per number of viewer. For this budget was so high compared to other shows. It's not going to come back on those kind of numbers.
No, it's not.
And that's
good
just a sad reality.
Yeah.
And
as if a million voices inside my head were screaming with excitement and then suddenly silenced.
yeah, and it's all to do with the statistic seems exciting until you actually show it compared to something else. So comparing a streaming service's average demand to TV in general doesn't show anything because, 500,000 people in the UK may tune in to watch BBC News at 10. Well, that's nothing as an audience, but it still comes into the factor of what is average demand.
It's so interesting. I never knew anything about the Parrot analytics. I'd read this. And then just seeing that thing about the Ahsoka, how high that shot. And I think that was around when they dropped Anakin's return. So that explained why that peaked so much.
And I think I can understand it from Collider's point because they're very keen for Acolyte to come back. They're big supporters of the show. Yeah. And it shows that in the article because it refers to it being cancelled because of the negative social commentary around it, which, there was a lot of negative commentary around it. But Disney doesn't care less about that. Disney's all about the numbers. And with it streaming on Disney Plus, Disney know exactly how many people are watching it, who's coming back to watch it a second time, how many people in the household are watching it, how often they're watching it. They've got all the statistics you could possibly imagine. And they don't care if they get derided for whatever content they make, if that content is making them money. And they make money by people tuning in.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think it makes sense. Like, how I look at it is pretty much like you said, if one household has viewed The Acolyte 10 million times, right sound. If two households, though, have viewed it 5 million times, that's better because you've got more viewers in each household. So these groups that are like saying, oh, we're just going to put it on repeat 24/7, that's not doing anything. It's not going anywhere. But like you said, they can see exactly what household or what account is being played on.
Yeah. And Fast Tracks TV, the potential of a season 2 is incredible and would ramp up as the season moves forward to Rogue One and A New Hope. Very true. They had the potential for a great storyline going forward. And probably ironically, they showed that in the very last 10 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
And perhaps if they'd showed that more during the show rather than the last 10 seconds, we wouldn't be in this kind of situation. But its cards were against it before it started because people had decided they weren't going to like it before it even launched. That's the sad truth behind it all. But it's not the fact that people were deriding the show, it's the fact that the people didn't tune in. And so they obviously listened to the negativity. And it always, these decisions will always be down to how many people tuned in.
Yeah.
I mean, the same as any other TV show. As soon as it was released, I was there watching it, and I think I'm right in saying Acolyte sort of aired from 2 a.m. or something like that. So quite often I would be there at sort of 2 a.m. ready to watch it.
Yeah.
And no other, unlike any other Star Wars show, I found myself fast forwarding it because I just couldn't engage with it, and it wasn't down to anything that anybody had said or any sort of preemptive strike from people out there. It just didn't gel with me. Now I think that there is a possibility of going back to some of those characters and perhaps doing a spin-off. I think Jack was right in saying it won't be called the Acolyte; it'll be called something else. And so you could still do something in that time with some of the characters, but sort of deviate away from what the Acolyte was predominantly about.
And the simple thing is to call the next series Plagueis, and people would tune in because people love the idea of that character and want to know more about that character. Flip
That
it
was
on his
so
head, and
frustrating,
so the
wasn't it?
characters from the Acolyte are appearing in cameo
Yeah.
situations in a Plagueis series.
And then what you do then is by doing that, you'll actually get more people going back to watch the Acolyte because it's then got that different connection.
Yeah.
So it helps it.
Yeah, but my whole attitude to it is I don't discourage people from watching the Acolyte. It's great that it's still picking up a demand, but the way this is being reported is not accurate as to whether that level of demand is successful or not. It just isn't.
Yeah.
But also, I suspect that level of demand is repeat views from people that are already very much into it rather than fresh blood.
And that's a positive thing because we've also seen shows like Willow, and I kind of liked Willow, to be fair, taken completely off the series, you know?
Yeah. It shouldn't have been ditched the way it was.
No. Jimmy making a really interesting call there. Season 2, The Apprentice. Season 3, The Master. I like that.
Great names. We're always talking about, like, going back to what we're saying about the Celebration panel stuff. Me and Jimmy watched the Acolyte come out, and we absolutely lost our minds like crazy. And I think it was you, Paul. You dropped some absolute golden nuggets where you said that if they'd have done the Acolyte in the correct timeline, that would have probably helped.
Yeah, the chronological order, because killing off what was, killing off Carrie-Anne Moss in the first episode was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think for me, like when you said that, and I was like, well, I'm going to watch this differently, and I've watched it differently. It makes more sense, and it flows a lot better as well.
Yeah.
Certain things like that. And again, I think it was Paul again that said, there's that much Star Wars now. It's so easy to be picky.
Yeah. And I think the Acolyte's kind of become this tent pole for the divide between, let's just say, the fandom menace and the rest of fandom. To make life simple, I think it's more complicated than that. I think it's more complicated than that, but just to keep the debate simple. So people want it to come back for a second season almost as a point of putting down the fandom menace. It's almost like become this thing. And I think this is why this article, using the Parrot Analytics, has kind of whipped up a lot of fever this week, and that people are still on this thing that the Acolyte was unfairly cancelled because of behaviour rather than consumption. And I just don't see that as being the truth. As much as sad, I hate seeing the negativity, getting clicks and views and so on. I don't think the decisions are made based on that. It's it's just a messy situation.
Yeah.
Sad news next. That was confirmed this week, that had been rumoured the last couple of weeks, but officially confirmed this week by the daughter of Clive Revill, that the actor passed away on March the 11th. Those of us old enough will remember him as being the voice of the Emperor back on the original release of The Empire Strikes Back in cinemas, before he was replaced in the 2004 DVD release by Ian McDiarmid. And of course, hugely successful stage and screen actor. I remember him from, I was going to say, it's Oliver Twist. He was he played Fagin, I think. I'm right in saying. Could be wrong. Please, someone correct me. And but yeah, he's been in Batman the Animated Series, Magnum PI, The Twilight Zone, Columbo, The New Adventures, Star Trek, Babylon 5, you name it. He was something of a very much celebrated actor, even if he only had a tiny little part in the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah. I think when we first saw him back in 1980, obviously it's his voice, and then it's a very, very well-known female actor with sort of prosthetic eye sort of makeup on. It was a very strange look, wasn't it, for the Emperor? And it only made sense all those years later on with having Ian play the Emperor in so many different films that for continuity purposes to refilm those scenes. I think it's one of the occasions where it was the right decision to make. I feel sorry for anybody that gets anything that they've done removed from a film, but when you've got to look at it as a sprawling saga rather than one actual scene, it made sense for Ian to reshoot those scenes. But yeah, it's always sad when somebody passes away. It's been a fantastic opportunity on things like Facebook where people have been putting Star Wars actor has died and putting a picture of Han, Luke, and Chewie up. Clickbait. It's awful stuff. But yeah. So it's always sad to hear when somebody goes that you remember seeing something that you're very much connected to, particularly if it's something from your childhood. So yeah, it's shame to lose Clive.
Indeed. At this point in time, do we want to head over to Jabba's court for this week's big debate?
Oh, yeah, favorite part of the show. This
favorite part of the show. Pressure's on now. Then let's go. Let's go. If I find the right button, here we go. So this week on Jabba's Court, we're debating, do you want a 3-camera Star Wars sitcom? Why would I ask that question, you ask? Maybe you don't.
Why indeed?
Why indeed? Oh, I've clicked the wrong one. Here we go. There's 3 of us this week. Tony Gilroy is talking about the future of Star Wars project, and he threw it out there, and it was just a random throw out from Tony, so I'm not picking on him in any shape or form. But he kind of suggested that, like, they've made their own lane with Andor and very much similar with Skeleton Crew. They've done something very different in the realm of Star Wars. And so if he was to have a discussion with Kathy as to what they would do next, he suggested, could you do a courtroom drama? And why not? And he also suggested, would you be able to make a 3-camera sitcom in Star Wars or a horror movie? So I can totally see a horror movie. I can totally see a courtroom drama, because Star Wars has gotten very political in various stages. But a 3-camera Star Wars sitcom, I thought, was something rather different. And so I thought, let's have the debate. Would you tune in to a 3-camera Star Wars sitcom? Paul, I'll start with you.
I would tune in to Only Fools and Tauntauns. I think that's got some legs and a tail. And I'm also thinking we could see something comedic about the younger years of Kylo Ren, and we could have Ben behaving badly. So we've got all sorts of opportunities here, you know.
Jack, have you got anything worse than that?
I've got nothing worse. I've got nothing worse than that. Paul kills me every time. I wouldn't be down for it at all, really, if I'm honest. I think Star Wars, it does have, I think a lot of the films, it does have really good comedy value in it. But I think at the same time with Star Wars, it's got to have that element of seriousness as well, to a degree. Yeah. Not too serious, but then not too much comedy. So yeah, for me, I won't be down for a free,
I think I've got a worse idea than Paul's. so
it's highly likely.
Set in a pub featuring a bunch of Star Destroyer commanders off duty having a drink, and you'd call it Veers.
Oh, nice. He's done it again.
Rob's on the same line as here. It's not showing up. Let me hide the ticket bar, because this has to get shown on the screen. Some mobs do have them.
Hey, like it. I think that there is one area of Star Wars that perhaps could work, because it's already comedy, is Tag and Bink. Maybe do some sort of live action thing with that, or a really nice sort of bit of animation. But I think the way it would work is if he did Tag and Bink, the focus on them would be comedic, but everything else that's going on around it would be played straight. I think that would work. But yeah, I tend to agree with what Jack said. Really, you don't want to start diluting down what Star Wars is by throwing comedy into it too much.
You could have a right laugh with it, though. There's plenty of ideas, like you say, like a judge sort of thing, where the Jedi's are sitting in court sort of thing with Emperor Palps there as the judge, I guess. Or like like the American The Office or the UK version of The Office, but it's not called The Office; it's just called the ISB.
There's plenty of avenues to go down with it, but should we?
Definitely. Another suggestion there from Jimmy. Alice, Mel's Diner, but set in Dex's Diner.
Oh, that's a cracking one.
Yeah, there's so much great, but people seem to forget you've got George Lucas co-created Star Wars comedy sitting on a shelf at Lucasfilm and Star Wars Detours, and they won't release it.
Yeah. Yes.
So I don't think you can do a Star Wars sitcom.
What would really be good though? I think you could get away with genuinely now is like Netflix's Drive to Survive, like the F1. Imagine if they did that for the pod racers.
Yes.
Right.
That'd work.
Yeah.
6 young Darksiders at Luke's Jedi Academy, 3 boys, 3 girls, drinking coffee and grains.
See,
he's
overthought that one.
He has. I can totally see there being a Star Wars horror movie type thing.
With the Ewoks eating everything.
Yeah.
At Echo over the weekend, there was some great sort of Ewok horror posters. So maybe they could do something with that. That would take away your teddy bear image of them. That would...
Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront 2, you have to fight them in the pitch black, and that's pretty jumpy if you played that.
Oh right, no, I've not played that.
Yeah,
I've played Battlefront 2, and I've not got that far into it. That's cool. I like that.
There's all sorts. I could totally see a courtroom type thing, a very much political thing. But yeah, the only show I want to see is Everybody Loves Palpatine.
Imagine one like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but Chrysanthemum the Bounty Hunter.
Yes. Yeah.
I think what Tony Gilroy is getting at more than anything is there's room to do something that's slightly unexpected, but it's not so far off center for Star Wars that it doesn't feel right. Like Andor has worked tremendously well, and it's not your traditional Star Wars program or content, but it's worked really well, and it's because it stays real to what Star Wars is. Do
you think the Antiques Roadshow with Luke and Ray would be quite good?
Yes, that'd be a brilliant one. That'd be a good one.
There's all sorts you could do, but I don't think you can do a straight Star Wars sitcom. Is there room for comedy in Star Wars? Yes. I think The Mandalorian's shown that. There's been a lot of comedians cameoed in that. Some worked, some didn't. Yeah. Jack Black.
Yeah. Don't even go there.
But,
that was dreadful.
Yeah, there's definitely room. Mr. Newball's loving this topic because he's going for 2 pints of lager and a packet of Sith.
Stop it.
They should do Death Troopers. Death Troopers was a great novel and it was horror based. So yeah, there's definitely ones. And they do like the sort of annual Star Wars comic at Halloween that's kind of worked nicely as well. I think Star Wars comedy belongs with your Lego Star Wars shows. It's kind of my general feel.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think they can be, and they should be, slightly braver in what they choose to do. And Andor's a nice benchmark for what you can do. You can tackle difficult storylines, I think, and still be Star Wars. So are we all in agreement? No to a Star Wars sitcom, but yes to more challenging Star Wars content.
Yeah.
That's the verdict this week in Jabba's court, I think. And that was an easy one. That was an easy one, an easy debate. And of course, Jabba's court is part of Good Morning Tatooine. We live stream every Sunday at 9 p.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. in New York. And I've lost
And-
my. I'm lost. There we go. I lost the button. There we go. Mr. Newbill's still out here. Political drama starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the fictional vice president of the galaxy and her droid assistant Peep. See, he's too much time in your hands. Get back to work, Mr. Newbill.
He's there. He's googling away all the best comedies ever, and he's just trying to think what he can come up with.
Yeah.
He's in his element. He's in his element now. Yeah. We're
Can I offer one? Can I offer one last one?
Here we go.
Okay. We've got 4 students who are training to be Jedis, and they all live together, and they're all a bit quirky, and they don't really get on. And we'll call it the Younglings. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, Mark's back to the site. Back to the site, Mark. Yeah. Next up in the news front, we're not in reality anymore. We are far beyond in our own little virtual world. And you can go in a little virtual world in Tokyo as well, because with the MetaQuest 3 headsets, you can experience Star Wars Beyond Victory coming from ILM. Mixed reality experience that we don't know too much about yet, but me and Jack, I'm sure, will be in the queue to experience that.
All right.
I know,
100%.
Paul, you'll never know. You'll never know what it's like. But we'll tell you all about it afterwards.
We'll bring the comic back.
And if you're there, we'll pick you up a comic and we'll take you back the comic, which is coming, cover art there from Phil Noto, and it's going to be written by Ethan Sachs, who's a friend of the show, and Will Sliney as well, Stephen Cummins and Shogo Aoki. So, lots to be excited about here. Paul, you're not going to experience it, so let's find out your thoughts. Do you care?
Well, let's have a look. Yeah, cover looks nice. There you go.
Cover looks nice. There we go. Jack, are you going to be in the queue to try this out?
Yes. 100% pod racing is something I absolutely adore. I love Star Wars vehicles as well. So 100% I'll be in the queue for this. The only thing that puts me off stuff like this though is when they just put it for MetaQuest and that's it.
Yeah,
they should just revamp the pod racing game they brought out back in the day. Because I still play that now on Nintendo Switch. So why just leave it for MetaQuest? Do something with it a bit more and bring it to all the consoles, the PCs. There's loads you could do with pod racing. Absolutely loads.
Yeah.
The thing about MetaQuest is I bought the first MetaQuest that came out because they released Vader Immortal, I think it was, something like that, on it. And I probably played it a few times and then threw it away. I don't want a huge weighty thing on my head with cables everywhere, and it's just like, it didn't work. I haven't seen the MetaQuest 3 headset, but I imagine it's not going to be too far different. That kind of experience isn't necessarily for me. Although I'm sure they'll have created some kind of nice setup at Celebration, which might make it a nice
imagine if they built like a little pod race you could actually sit in. That'd be pretty awesome.
So it could be fun to do at Celebration. I'm not entirely convinced by the platform going forward, but I stand to be corrected on that.
I think as well, Brian, sorry, one big thing is a big shout out to Ethan Sachs, like you mentioned. Like his comic book series for the Bounty Hunter stuff is amazing. I absolutely love that run. So regardless of playing this, I'm 100% be getting that comic.
Yeah.
Next up, from Hot Toys, a life-size Grogu. Paul, would you take Grogu home?
I'm intrigued to see what character development they've done with him. I'm hoping he's got like a real gruff voice. Would I want a life-size Grogu? I've got a Grogu somewhere. I think it might be in the loft. I'm not a massive fan of Grogu, if I'm honest. I'll put
not
it
a fan.
Sorry. No, not a fan. No. Jack? I like the idea, but I think he's been a bit overused in recent things. I think that it would have been good to in season 3 of Mando to have given them a bit of space apart, and had some more sort of like the early adventures of Mando, like episode 1, But I think a bit of oversaturation of that character because he was very popular with small kids, and then brought in a different dynamic to the fan base, but perhaps a little bit overused now.
Jack, your thoughts?
Yeah, similar to Paul's, to be honest. Life size, I'd like to know exactly what size it means by life size. The reason I'm saying that is I've got a 9-year-old daughter. She's got like 2 or 3 now, Grogu, Teddy Bear, some other companies. I think that with this one, like, why has Hot Toys took so long to get this out? If they'd have brought this out in season 1, Mandalorian, mate, they could have quadrupled their sales. This would have literally gone like hotcakes. I think bringing it out now, yeah, sound okay because we've got the film coming out, but no, I think for me, I'm not getting it. I think it's too little, too late.
That's been a real frustration for a lot of Star Wars collectibles, though, hasn't it? I mean, you'll suddenly get something released from the Book of Boba Fett 2 years after it's been on, released, which is ridiculous. So yeah,
there's two reasons why
it's hot.
2 reasons why I'm tempted to buy this. Reason number 1, it comes with the punching bag. so
no.
you can be like a scout trooper and punch it. And 2, if that wrist rotates, it would be really funny to have that on the shelf.
Oh my!
So tempted. I'm gonna check it out. If it's at the Hot Toys stand in Japan, I may end up with a Grogu in my luggage to take home.
That's what I've always liked that about you, Brian. You're so mature.
So mature. Hey, I'm just representing Star Wars canon.
I'll be interested to see what people can do with it as well. Like talking from like a costume point of view. So we've got some guys and girls in the UKG and droid builders.
Yeah,
super excited to see what they can do with it.
Animate it.
Jamie's asking, what's Grogu's voice going to sound like, and what will be his first words?
Scottish, Brian.
I hope his first words are.
Hello, Brian. How are you?
His first words are, "Oh my God, put that helmet back on."
Yeah.
Rob's saying that he's seen on a group it's going to be 45,000 yen, which is about 240 quid, because I got some yen this week, and that's what it kind of roughly cost me. That's not a bad price point for Hot Toys.
It's not
product.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
And the quality of their stuff's always really, really good by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week, we're going to end the new segment on a droid, SM33, Nick Frost. And it's been announced that Nick Frost is in line to play Hagrid in the HBO Harry Potter series. We talked earlier about the Acolyte and people hating on things. This is going to take all the hate off Star Wars, the series, when it's on air. It's going to get all the hate in the world.
It is, yeah.
So, but it's going to be a 10-year acting gig for whoever takes the job. So happy days if you're an actor. Paul, can you see Nick Frost as Hagrid, and do you care for Harry Potter TV?
I can definitely see him playing Hagrid, and I think he'll do a cracking job. But it's just too close to the release of such an iconic series of films. Can you imagine somebody suggested to you that they were going to start making Star Wars again from episode 1 onwards?
Yeah,
recast it, everything. You'd flip. And there's going to be Harry Potter fans out there that are going to be so against anything. It doesn't matter how good it is; they'll be against it. I mean, like you say, Bri, talk about toxic fandoms. I mean, the way that they get on with old J.K. Rowling, the fan base and her really are at loggerheads. And I believe I'm right in saying that she said that she absolutely detests most of the kids that were involved.
Yeah, I think that's basically what she suggested. Yeah. Mr. Newbell's saying he'll sound like Chef from South Park. Now, I think he's talking about Grogu. But if he's talking about Nick Frost playing Hagrid, I would love Hagrid to say to one of the kids, "Suck on my chocolate salty balls."
I knew it's coming.
But he went there, Jack.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't help it. It just the timing on Mr. Newbell's comment. Jack, having just that shocking revelation, can you imagine Nick Frost as Hagrid?
I agree with both of you. I think Nick will do a fantastic job because he's such a talented guy. At the same time, no disrespect to the Harry Potter community, I don't really care about it.
Yeah,
it's not my thing. And yeah, it will make the Acolyte look a lot better and take a lot of the heat off Star Wars. So
yeah, I think it's one of
will
these
take a lot
projects
of
that's a
it,
poison chalice. I get it, because it's like the Harry Potter movies are 20 years old, believe it or not, which is
I suppose.
insane.
Yeah.
And
I don't get why they're doing it, apart from getting
yeah.
more money. I mean, the story's been
it's
told.
making money.
Yeah.
It's all it is. I think they tried to do spin-offs, didn't they? They did the Fantastic Beasts, and it didn't really work out so well for them.
Yeah.
A new generation will find this, and this will be their version of Harry Potter. That's just how these things work.
Yeah.
But fair play to Nick if he gets a job, big paying job, big high profile job for him. So fairness to it. And John Lithgow, of course, famously did Yoda's voice in the radio dramas, Star Wars, back in the day as well. So he's going to be Dumbledore. So yeah, interesting times ahead. Far more interesting. Next topic. Obviously, we've got Jack here. Explore the Force is your show podcast, and you're going to be presenting at Celebration for the first time on the Holonet news stage on Friday, April 18th at 11:30. Tell us a little bit about Explore the Force to start with.
Yes, so it's a young podcast. We're not even 2 years old yet. Basically, myself, Jimmy, and Taylor at the time started a podcast not long after meeting at London Celebration, reaching out to Mark Newbold, asking for advice. A lot of fan for tracks have been a huge help, massive influence in everything we've done. We just took the plunge and see what happens. Basically, we cover everything Star Wars. We just like talking Star Wars. We'll do show recaps. Jimmy started doing comic reviews. We've started doing quiz shows, just trying to give a little bit back to the community. And just big believers in more Star Wars, the better. And yeah, like I said, since 2023, it has just gone through the roof. Like some of the opportunities and the things we've seen and done, places we've been have just been incredible. We've never in our dreams thought about getting anywhere as near as we've got, and we've recently just hit 4,000 followers alone on Instagram. We've got an amazing community on our Facebook page, just nearly 500 strong. Lots of chitter chatter on that. Positive group as well for a change. We've got YouTube. We've just started selling merchandise as well. It's just a young podcast, a small idea that's just going bigger and bigger. And then we put in for Japan, Star Wars Celebration Japan. They accepted it. We're going with the Japanese influence on Star Wars. And after doing a bit of research, because we need to do a bit of research for this, it's our panel. It's blown my mind. There's so much Japanese influence films and everything like that that's made Star Wars what it is today. So it makes even more sense that it's actually going to Japan. That's as much as I'll say for that. I know we've got prize giveaways at the panel as well, and they've put us straight on pretty much after the Mandalorian and Grogu. So hopefully we can take the momentum from that straight into the panel. And yeah, look forward to seeing everyone that turns up.
Nice one. Well done for getting that, Jack. That's brilliant. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, there's such a massive influence, particularly from Kurosawa. The look of Vader, almost like a samurai helmet, and etc. So it's going to be a really interesting show from you guys. And wish you all the best, mate. Bit envious I'm not there now. I'd like to see that. Do you know whether that's likely to get streamed or recorded in some way?
If I'm allowed, I'll get my phone and I'll stream you and I'll get you a chair.
Send me a beanbag.
Definitely record it and get up there on your YouTube, I would suggest, if you can.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's great just having it there for the memento moment as well. I'll be doing my 4th celebration panel this year. They keep asking me back. It's ridiculous. I haven't learned. So it's great fun. A little bit nerve-wracking in the lead up to it, but once you start, it's great fun, and you tend to find everybody's incredibly supportive in the room, because either they're discovering you for the first time, or they're listeners and watchers of your shows and content, which is always great to get feedback in person, I think, as well. Rob's going to be there, so the room's not going to be empty. I'll be there, 100%. I'll be heading there after the Mando panel as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we've had a few people saying they're going to be turning up, but like you said, it's just amazing. Like The community has been absolutely amazing. You guys at Fan for Tracks have helped us no end. Like Brian knows, anyway, I'm constantly messaging Brian, asking him for advice. Same as Mark Newbold. So yeah, I can't wait, and it's just the more Star Wars, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. There's room for everyone.
Jimmy's asking, got any tips for us? Yeah, don't listen to anything we say. Just do what you do. You know, that's why people listen. That's why people watch. That's why people will turn up. And if it's new people, they're going to see live the content. They're going to see post show. I always say we'd always try and do something, add something different because you're live in the room with people, like a giveaway, like you said.
Yeah.
But never try and change too much from what we normally do.
Just lock the door.
Mr. Newbold said as well, save a seat for him as well. But yeah, the difficult thing with Celebration is always getting people into the room.
Yeah.
One, because you never know where the stage is going to be located compared to the rest of the convention. And two, everybody's got so much going on. And if you clash with something, that can be crushing. But yeah, you'll find that you'll get supporters there. And that's always the main thing, I think. And enjoy it is the key, I think, to doing it. As Mr. Newbold's saying as well, keep doing what you're doing. It's working. And I think that's the best. That's the best tip.
I think that the best bit of advice really is if it's something that you have found interesting when you've been researching it, then it's going to work because there's going to be elements in there that people won't have come across in the past. So there's always something new in there, and if you've enjoyed it, they'll enjoy it.
Yeah. My wife's obviously a big supporter anyway, so some of the stuff with research I've spoken to her about, and I know if she's interested, then I can get anyone else interested. So the prototype shows worked at least.
Yeah. The best example I can give, last year I did a panel in Finse, Norway, in front of people who worked on the production of the film. And so there was lots of things in my presentation that weren't correct. Not because my information was wrong, it's because Lucasfilm liked to create a certain narrative about the making of their films that may not necessarily genuinely be true. And so you just have to run with it. And the way I dealt with it was, after the panel, we're going to go on a little tour around the hotel and the shooting locations, and you'll get the chance to hear the real stories of what really did go on and did happen. I goes, rather than the Lucasfilm version of the production. And, you get little things like that, little blips, and you just keep going. And I'm sure there'll be people in the room that'll say, that's not quite right about Akira Kurosawa or whatever. But you're live in a room, so you've got a chance to, look, come on, tell us, correct us, keep us right.
That's the thing. I mean, it's not just going to be me and Jimmy sat there just absolutely waffling. We want this to be, loads of feedback, people talking to us as well, and loads of engagement, because pretty much everything we do on our podcast anyway is people's like feedback, questions, people what they want to see. Like, again, Jimmy's a high school teacher. In his spare time, he's a swim teacher. His hours are like 4 in the morning, to like 7, 8 at night. I'm pretty much the same with my job as well. Where we get the time to do this, it's all due to the passion that we have for Star Wars, and that's what unites everyone, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You were also out and about this week. I
was,
at Echo Base live and down in England.
So down in Redditch was at Echo Base Live, organised by Wayne and the crew. Lots of awesome swag that they put on the tables. Great value for money. There's so many guests from there. Like, I gotta say, headliners from like Dennis Lawson all the way down to people like Jack Claff, who sat on our table. Guy Henry was there. There's absolutely loads. I was even fortunate enough to have Mark Newbold on the table, hogging the limelight as usual. But no, it's a fantastic event. 3-course meal as well. There's drinks, all that good stuff. There's music as well by a guy called Mark Rolfe. Absolutely talented musician. He does all our music as well for our podcast. He played right through the night. There was raffles. Look who won it.
I know. It must have been rigged. Had to be rigged.
I'm just impressed that Brian's took his shirt from that night. But,
that's the sole reason. I looked in the cover and thought, what Roosevelt's shirt will I wear tonight? And I thought, I'm gonna match Mr. Newbold.
Yeah, so all that extra money I was talking about for promotions went on my raffle ticket. Newbold, I think, chucked a fire in a 1-on-1 ticket. So
that sounds right.
Classic Newbold.
You've got a little video as well.
Really fantastic.
That I'll try and run if I can hit the right button.
But yeah, it's based right next to a hotel.
Join me, 2025 Star Wars guest dinner at Echo.
This is one of the reels that we chucked on
before I went
our show.
Let me silence it so you can talk over it. But
there's obviously the costumers there. They were raising money. I can't remember off the top of my head what the charity was. Queuing up outside. Obviously, that's Wayne there in the tux in the back. That's Mark. That's the music setup. Again, absolutely incredible. They just do music from all the Star Wars stuff as well. Some of the swag they got, like Vader's ashes, nice little touch, a Yavin medal. Like I said, we had the chat with the guests. So I think it's about 10 per table off the top of my head. 10 tables. They did a quiz as well. We absolutely smashed the quiz, got every single one of them right. But we still didn't win the quiz. I think we lost by 1 point. And then Guy Henry got up and started doing all the raffle, and Mr. Newbold won it. This is the music. Obviously, can't hear the music, but it's I think it's the Cantina Band music that they were playing. But they just put like a little spin on it. It's absolutely amazing. And then the Max Repo Band. That's what they were called. There's Mark absolutely shredding it on the guitar. Honestly, so amazing. And the singer, I forgot her name. I want to say Amy or Kaylee. I can't remember, but they did the song from Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace. And yes, and the singer learned Huttese and sang it in Huttese, and oh my god, she was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. So massive kudos to them. But yeah, it was a great event, absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. I know the day after they go down to Kingfisher Reddit shopping mall, and they have like a massive collectors thing going on there as well. But yeah, Wayne, as always, absolutely blowed it out the one. It's not one of these events as well. It costs an arm and leg. I can't think how much it was off the top of my head. It wasn't extortionate either by any stretch of the imagination, but the value for money and some of the stories, it truly is incredible. So yeah, that was my day. All right.
Excellent. So quick reminder for everyone. Friday, April 18th, 11:30, HoloNet News Stage. If you're at Celebration, you can check them out live. And looking forward to it immensely. And of course, Good Morning Tatooine. We've got our own panel as well on the same stage, but on the Sunday at 9:30 in the morning. Special guest Kriana Crater from Skeleton Crew played KB. Excited to have her on the show. Reminder to everybody as well, she's not doing autographs and signings. It is a panel, it is a discussion. You can ask questions. If you are looking for autographs and photograph with Kriana, you need to head to the Not So Virtual Cantina event. Check out their Facebook page, scan the QR code on the screen. Tickets are sold out for the event, but they are running a hyperspace ticket promotion, so you can still get in. And that's the only place you'll be able to get an autograph and photo opportunity during Celebration. That is the news segment, but we have still to come Andor, and we're going to do a quick deep dive into Andor episode 11, which was a great episode, I thought.
Awesome.
In the Death Star cometh our celebration is episode 11, Daughter of Ferrex, of Andor, and it was an incredibly impressive episode, I think. Huge political statement to cap off the episode, but we kind of started out, wrong camera, let's change it, there we go. And
you don't want me at all.
Don't want you at all. Don't want you at all. There we go. We'll move it back. It's gone completely wrong. What have I done?
I'll get it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh no. I've broken it somehow.
Just like episode 11, it started on a cliffhanger.
Absolute cliffhanger. We'll leave Paula in. We'll add Jack in.
Yeah, we've gone.
Like we're editing live here. So there's you can tell that we're it's a live
not just
show.
thrown together.
This is what happens when your co-host doesn't turn up in time before the show starts.
He's gone there.
Technical difficulties, Brian.
Mr.
We've all
Newbold
had
loves the chaos.
It goes back to what Jack was saying. You just don't want two people just waffling. Well, that's what you get with us, I'm afraid.
The episode kicked off with two guys hanging on a cliff. It's how I'm feeling at the moment.
That's a brilliant segue. That is a brilliant segue.
Obviously, Andor and Moshe just escaped, and they're kind of hiding from the Imperials, hunting them down. But most of the episode takes place on Ferrex, and they play this whole emotional scene, I guess, with how would you describe it?
It was very emotionally charged, wasn't it? I mean, basically comforting B2 emo. Which was very nicely done, actually. Yeah.
Brasso, the character, did an amazing. So I think a lot of people get attached to droids, some more than others, obviously, but I think B2 really hit home with a lot of people because that droid, for instance, is more of a companion or a friend like any pet is for any family. So watching Brasso try and console B2, I think it hit home quite hard.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad Brasso's coming back. It looks like he's got quite a big role in season 2. So
because we didn't really see much acting chops from him until this episode, and he really commanded this episode quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, early on, there was that great scene where he sort of talks about giving Cassian a cover story for when he's out and about on the night that he kills the two ISB guys. But he definitely gets his acting chops onto this episode.
And that's a great shot as well. That's up because, again, like most people, like the granddads and grandmas, they've all got that one chair, and seeing that chair, you're sort of picturing Marva there, but obviously. She's not, and again, like any pet or whatever, you've heard the stories where pets won't leave certain beds or chairs, or whatever, because they're waiting for their owner to come back.
That's really good analysis. Yeah.
He's a droid, though. Just wipe him clean.
And there we go.
And we're off.
Marva taken away on the back of a pallet truck. out and B2E was watching on. And of course we've got our rebels watching, we've got our Imperials watching, everybody's watching, and including Andor and co. They're now watching. They're looking for an escape route, and they spot a puddle jumper.
Here
we go. Like Brian is evil. That's just I just tell the truth. And they make a run for the puddle jumper, but they're alien watchers who are incredibly funny. Catch them in a really cool neck contraption, which I kind of loved. I don't know how, but it kind of worked for me. And so the plans of escape appear to not go too well initially, at least. Back on Coruscant, one of my favourite characters, Deidre, is communicating with her command crew back on Ferrex, and because the Empire are kind people, they issue a permit to allow for Marva's funeral to take place, even though people said Deidre don't allow it. She said no, it must happen. We must give these people the time to express their condolences. And we'll close off Rick's Road just so they can do so. Just what kindness. Kindness is the only way to describe it.
Oh dear.
Our guys, I don't know if they've got names. I can't remember.
No, I tried looking for it. They were just down as Narkinian fishermen.
Yeah.
Right.
So whilst it appears initially that they were going to hold them captive and cash them in by returning them to the Imperials. The opportunity of a trip to Blackpool Pleasure Beach seemed to change their opinion. And I'm presuming, we didn't actually see it, but I'm presuming they all went there.
Yeah.
And they're basically going for a holiday for the weekend. Blackpool Pleasure Beach is, if you escape from prison, it's kind of probably one of the first places people go for drinking, all sorts of other dodgy activities. Paul, any experience?
Yeah, I think they probably went straight to the first Weatherspoons they could find. Absolutely. It's been a long time without a beer, you know.
Yeah. Jack, have you had a night out in the Blackpool region?
I have, yeah. One I tend to forget, but yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, we'll see later in this episode if you wear similar outfits to what they wore when they were
brilliant.
In Coruscant, and what's always been known as Luthien Gale's shop, but maybe this scene kind of flips it a little bit on its head, in that Luthien's maybe not so much in control as what I always kind of deemed to be his assistant here, because she seems very much the boss in this scene.
Yeah.
And very much unhappy with Vel for Vel breaking protocol in terms of approaching the shop and not going through official channels, maybe being prepared to wait for a response to a signal that she apparently sent them. And
that's why she's so angry, though, isn't it? Because the assistant Marquis, I can't remember her first name, Val, I think. No, Kayla.
Yeah, Kayla. Yeah.
Kayla, she's so angry because obviously, like you said there, she just breaks protocol, just walks straight in. And that's obviously a big deal, because that whole pretty much rebel operation is so fragile, right underneath the Emperor's nose on Coruscant, and, you know, got to stick to protocol.
Yeah. And why they have to stick to protocol? Because guys like this watching, he's got close watch on Marva's house, as of course do the rebels. It's a strange one in that obviously they're all prepared, looking to capture Cassian, even the rebels, because actually, you know, the orders given by Luthien to shoot him. Which again shows the levels that the rebellion will go to protect the agenda, I guess would be the way to describe it, Paul.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be one of those organizations where different orders come from different people, and that's probably why when we see in Rogue One the order to shoot Cassian Andor, the order to shoot Galen Erso on sight, shouldn't really be that much of a surprise, because it's all very politically motivated, and I suppose you never really do get to know who your allies really are.
Mark, fact checking this here. Dewey and Freedy Pamular, they're fishermen. Although I'm going to correct Mark, because technically they were trying to catch squigglies, so they would make them squiggly men.
Squiggly man.
You can't beat squiggly chips and mushy peas, can you?
Yeah, that's Saturday night in Blackpool's.
Portion of squiggly. Oh, gosh.
That's it. Yeah, you got any batter bits? No, you're all right. Yeah.
The annoying guy with the big bell that was back in this episode. Nobody ever reacts to it. So what's he banging on about? It's like, look at the people just walking the street. They don't care.
I love that bell. I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
And Mr. Meals, Squiggly Men is way better. That's now what they'll be officially known as.
Should have had some Squiggly Men merch.
Squiggly Men merch would be awesome. B2 Emo, he won't go. Brazo, he wants to stay in the house. And Brazo agrees. Just one more night. Again, another reason to wipe his memory. Get him down the market, get him sold.
I seen something this week on StarWars.com that little bed thing that he sat in, even the crew were calling that the dog bed.
That's good. I like that. So Brazo, being the kind guy that he is, he just accommodates everybody. He's going to stay the night just to put up with a droid. Just weird. Bix, meanwhile, she's enjoying the hospitality of the Imperial Hotel. She gets invited in for a little chat, but she's just a miserable face on her, terrible. Like, just cheer up.
She missed all the panels at Celebration.
Okay.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Yes.
didn't get a single one.
And she gets asked if her source that the Imperials know as Axis, that we know as Luthien Rail, is another rebel known as Krieger, who becomes again relevant later in the episode. But despite some sweet encouragement, she's not willing to say who her source at the rebellion is. So it's not looking good for her at all, you know.
No.
Great acting, fantastic acting.
Very good.
And she actually, I read in an interview, I think last week, about how she was incredibly excited for people to see season 2 because she felt that her storyline in season 2 is really good. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what she brings to the next season as well. Back in Coruscant, Fel's gone to see her sister, Mon Mothma. And Mon Mothma's not happy that her daughter's following some Chandrillian tradition to do with braided hair, it appears. I don't really understand it. But a very old-fashioned tradition, and she explains to Vel that it's actually her daughter who's the leader amongst our friendship group and getting them all to follow this old-fashioned tradition. And it appears that part of that tradition is the child being married off quite at a young age to someone else, and this is very much relevant to Mon Mothma's program. And she explains it to her sister about her financial issues and how she's got this dodgy Chandrillan banker stroke mafia boss involved in the whole situation. And if that's going to be a big part of season 2, as much as I want the wedding to be Krennic's child, if he has one, because I think that would be ingenious twist. I don't think they're going to make it that complicated.
No, I think it's going to be the same family, that they're marrying into. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a real juxtaposition to what happens in our lives, where the kids, they push to go in certain directions, and the parents want to go the other. This sort of flips it on the head. Mon Mothma's wanting, freedom of expression and go and do what you want to do, and what the daughter's looking to do is really sort of insular and really sort of like regimented. It's it's complete opposite of what we experience.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, the pressure is building on Mon Mothma, Jack. It's incredible that really a small part in one of the films has built into this monumental character in such a way, who's now so very much pivotal to the entire Star Wars story in terms of the formation of the rebellion, and we're seeing this play out in Andor.
Yeah, we've all been watching from Explore the Force, the season 1 again, because we're getting ready to do a bit of a recap. And the reason I'm on about this is watching it again with the stuff that we've seen from the trailer, and even now, Brian, it's just sort of triggered ideas and theories. Is just imagine if Val was actually working for the Empire all along.
It feels like there's going to be a twist in there.
Yeah.
And there's going to be one of these prominent Rebel Alliance people.
Because ultimately they've got to get Mon Mothma off Coruscant. I think something goes horribly wrong, and I think it's to do with that.
Because we've seen the ISB agent in last week's episode 10, twist and become Luthien's agent. It kind of feels like we're going to have someone turn out to be probably Krennic's agent. I think it's going to be at that kind of level. And I haven't quite figured out who I think it's going to be yet. But we'll wait and see. Someone who it's definitely not, because he's so loyal. It's my favourite Cyril here in his pajamas. What a nice guy. And my favourite scene of the entire series of Andor season 1 was Cyril and his good mate just having a chat. And poor guy's stuck working in a smelter somewhere as his punishment on for being kicked out. You know, they've closed down the corporate sector and it's getting taken over by the Imperials. But he's still got friends helping in the transition, and he phones up Cyril to tell him what's going on. Andor's mother's passed away, and we've got a chance to catch them. He's delighted.
Yeah.
And that double act, it is like a Laurel and Hardy double act. It's brilliant. I love it. And it just makes me smile every time the pair of them come on screen. I just, ingenious writing and brilliant acting from the pair of them. And got to be back for season 2. He isn't in any of the promo materials. Cyril is.
Did they kill him off? Was he killed off?
No. He lived. He was right next to the explosion, but he was right next to Luthien, and he lived. So
I think the last time we see him sat on a staircase, don't we? In town, yeah.
He could be the rebel traitor. That would be crushing.
Could you imagine?
That would crush me and Cyril.
I still think Daniel Mays is going to come into it, the guy that gets shot right at the start of Rogue One, and there'll be like a whole sort of plot based around him, and and the reason that he gets shot at the beginning of Rogue One will be because of what we see in season 2.
Yeah.
Earlier in the episode, Mark mentioned about helmets and caps. Next episode, next week, Cyril swaps caps on the bus. It's brilliant. Love them. It's just love those.
It's a real disguise, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Tivik has to be in there somewhere. Very true.
Yeah, that's him. That's the lad.
Yeah. Head over to Blackpool.
Yeah, go and get yourself an ice cream.
Yeah. Sleeping alien, who I realised in Andor at the very start when Jin's on the transport, just before she's on the transport, when she's in the jail.
Rogue One. Yeah.
What did I say?
Andor. It was close enough.
Close enough. Rogue One. When Jin's in her prison cell, there's an alien very much like this one, fast asleep. Wondered if it's the same one.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good shout.
Cassian's back to get his stolen civil servant wages that he stole from Aldani. but right, if you're sneaking in and the person's asleep, why would you open the box? Just take the box. But there, this is stolen credits. A lot of credits there. A gun.
It's a lot,
as well. Which was quite clever that he went back for this. I thought it kind of completes the story. And then we get a very interesting scene with Luthien, and his name is completely gone.
Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera. There we go.
Yeah.
Where Luthien reveals that he's going to sacrifice the rebel we saw earlier in Krieger. And he warns Saul not to join in this recent attack they're going to have in an Imperial compound. It's very interesting because it shows you how far Luthien's willing to go. I think it was 30 men are going to die in one of the elite rebels at that time. It's interesting, and Saul's reaction wasn't happy at all.
He went off the rails, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we start seeing the paranoid side of Saul. This is again massive kudos to the writing team here.
Yeah, I wondered if we're going to see this play out in the second season. And my presumption that Luthien's behind the Gorman massacre. Does Saul lose some of his men in that because he wasn't aware that Luthien's going to be setting the whole thing up? He was going there expecting something slightly different. I'm just speculating.
That could be where we see him sustain some injuries as well, because he's
That's
clearly.
What I thought. When you see him in the breathing apparatus in Rogue One, kind of feel Andor's going to show how that happened.
Yeah, I think so.
And, I think that's the end product of Saw Gerrera, though, where he and like you said, Brian, we see this now with Andor, where we see the dark side or the dirty side of the Rebel Alliance. You know, Saw Gerrera ultimately, like a majority of them, like Krieger was, is just a puppet.
Yeah.
Like, you actually used the perfect phrase because it is the Rebel Alliance, and it's not all rebels. it's a certain group that are willing to work together, and Saw wasn't.
Yeah, there's a number of different groups. Yeah, all different motives, but ultimately the same goal.
And that could be one of the main splinters here. Is what happens at Gorman could be not everyone agrees. Maybe Saw was the victim, really, or the one that Luthien's willing to sacrifice. And pure just speculation on my part, but when I watched this scene again last night, that's kind of what went through my head. It's going to be Luthien's going to be the one that causes Saw his injuries, is what I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm positive, or I'm sure Saw Gerrera's group is called something else as well.
I can't quite remember for it. Mr. Newbold's there. He'll fact check it for us. Cyril's mum leaves the house. Cyril's all suited and booted with that incredible tie that I want. So he goes back at the house and he steals. I think, is he stealing it from his mother, or is he taking it out of his own secret little stash? I think it's from his mother, because there's jewelry in there as well. So he can go off in his redemption arc, as I like to call it. so he can capture. So you can capture Andor. Mark just calling them partisan rebels, not the same breed.
That's it,
you can see the discord in Rogue One when they don't go to Scarif. Good point.
Partisans.
Luthien, meanwhile, he's on his ship and he makes a call back to Kayla. And this is kind of what we were speaking about earlier, Jack, that this who's in charge here, because she's pretty much slaps him down back into place here. And he tries to have a go of her in their cryptid language here, and she's like having none of it. She's like, I'm following the rules and I'm doing things by the book, and you're trying to push things too far, is almost the conversation to be had.
Yeah.
And as if proof in point, he's kind of
amazing,
hunted down by this beautiful design and beautiful displayed scene, and he's caught in a tractor beam by the Imperials who want to do an inspection of him.
Yeah.
He fakes his transponder as being from Alderaan. And but suspicions are enough. They're going to board him anyway to do an inspection, because they need the training, because, always at training, keeping their border staff up to date. And he has a very fancy aircraft, and he discharges some countermeasures that destroys the antenna that's running the tractor beam. And then he has very much like...
that design of ship, I think that was one of the original designs for a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. And I think it had been used in the West End Games RPG as well.
Yeah.
You also got a very cool scene where he's kind of got these lightsaber-like
awesome
things come out the side of it. And I love when they do like just little things like this that just enhances a lot of things, and he takes out the TIE fighters and gets away. But it also shows that the net's closing in on him. Colin Cantwell design, according to Mr. Newbold. The net's closing in on him, and this is going to be the pressure that I think they've spoken about he's going to face in season 2, and it constantly ramps up on him, which is probably going to cause him to do more and more stupid things. Andor, meantime, is finding out that his mother has passed away, and a phone call back to Ferrex, and he's obviously still at Blackpool. And this is what I was talking about. Is this the kind of outfit you would wear on a night out in Blackpool? That's some shirt there, isn't it? Like it's like
that one is, isn't it? Yeah, Melchi's.
That's a nice shirt. That's a nice shirt, to be fair.
Very smart.
Well, we'll leave that debate.
You know what? You know what that shirt reminds me of, though. Again, spoiler alert, but the end of season 1 Andor, where it pans out and it turns out that what they're working on was parts of the Death Star. It looks almost like that, doesn't it? Look.
Yeah,
I suppose it's the interconnecting.
He could be the traitor. He could be the traitor, and you don't know it through the whole of Rogue One. Maybe he's forced in that situation. He's secretly the designer of the Death Star.
We talk about Andor bingo.
Yeah. And Mr. Newell, small images are little Narkina 5s.
Yeah, that's what I've just been on about. Yeah.
Mm. And of course, he's got to go home now. He's got to go home.
Yeah.
He's got to go back to FedEx. And the episode ends with this scene where he's looking out on the sea and the sunlight coming through, which, if you remember, is exactly what he did in Rogue One.
Yes.
Just before justice was served.
Fantastic shot. Fantastic shot that is.
It is. Very rare that you get that in the Blackpool area.
That's what gave it away that it wasn't Blackpool for me.
Yeah, definitely CGI. But I'm not going to call it a filler episode because it would be completely unfair to call it that. But it's building up to the finale and next week's finale. And I can show you a little teaser for next week's finale as well that I found this week on YouTube. If you like, I can run that next. And bear with me. So I'm going to have to...
Where are we going with this?
Oh, no.
What's going on?
Father Hackett's got very fond of that brick. It's a great old pet for him. He doesn't have to feed it or clean it or take it to the vet. Suits him down to the ground.
How much milk do you have in your tea?
I love my brick.
Maybe we're seeing another side to Father Jack, a more caring, considerate.
That is kind of what's
dear.
coming next in next week's episode.
You know what, right? This is actually really good because, funnily enough, one of the questions on the quiz at the show I was at Friday was I can't remember the question, but the answer was Father Ted. That's quite ironic.
I tried to do the quiz this week on Explore the Force. I didn't embarrass myself completely. I held it there.
You were good. You were good. We'll definitely get someone.
Tough.
We'll definitely get one of you on. 100%. We'll get one of you on.
Oh, definitely. I'm up for that.
I was letting myself be led by the room with some of my answers.
Yeah.
I was like, I was being influenced, and as soon as I said it, I knew I got a couple of them wrong, and I was like, quiz is not my thing. It's like I struggle. But yeah, it was great fun. I love doing that, and brilliant half-hour entertainment there as well.
Yeah, more to come.
Yeah, 100%. That is this week's Death Star Cometh, and you can get more of that on Good Morning Tatooine's live streaming every Sunday at 9 p.m. in the UK. And brings us to the end of the show, which has run really, really long. Jack, you talk too much. You talk too much.
Yeah, blame me.
But, I like how we try to cram an hour's content into 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. Yeah. Who's on after us in the Star Wars Celebration? They're in trouble.
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to be doing a show that's so long that we'll have to do the next one straight after it.
Yeah, good. It's almost morning.
Yeah.
I'm literally jumping off this to go and record this week's podcast.
Well, we're going to have to go.
Thanks
We're going to have to let you
it.
go because we've got to get that out the door. So we've got something to listen to during the week. Jack, it has been brilliant having you on the show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely.
Good luck with the Planet Celebration. Look forward to seeing you out there. We'll have a laugh. We'll have a drink and a meal, I'm sure, at some point.
Yes, 100%. Thank you so much for letting me come on. It's been an absolute privilege. It's definitely up there with my Star Wars highlights, probably on par with a panel.
Bless you.
I can't wait for next week's show as always. Keep doing what you guys are doing as well. Thank you so much for the help, advice, everything you guys are doing as well. Keep it up, and I look forward to Celebration, Brian. I've got that present. I've got that book ready.
All right. So check out Explore the Force. If you're listening to Fan Attacks Radio this week, you'll get an episode from Echo Base on Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Making Tracks. And this coming Friday, there'll be an episode of Cannon Fodder with Bad Batch Ghost Agents author Michael Morike as well. So look forward to that. Paul, Jack, thank you for joining me this week. And we'll be back next Sunday for the last episode before Celebration. Is it?
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. Do I get a break? Do I get a week off?
Paul,
Well,
you're going to be
well.
running with it, aren't you? If Brian's going.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what with my tech, that should be good.
You'll be there at Celebration in some way or other.
I will. There'll be a hologram of me.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from both of them. Fantastic.
See you all soon.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.